Well then, here we are in another regularly scheduled Abyss Fair yapping session. This time I'm gonna rant a tad bit about a mechanic from the RGG games that is not here anymore. Kind of. A mechanic I miss even if it's rather situational. It's in fact Revelations. See, Revelations to me are some of the most random shit imaginable. When you first come across a revelation in the series, you know it's wild. But lately, RGG has removed them, or at least in their prior form, by unlocking moves through funny gag QTs. For example, Saejima carrying a log all willy-nilly, Majima seeing breakdancing and implementing into combat, or the iconic Kiryu taking photos of the old lady on the bike. They weren't just skill unlocks, they were comedy skits that were 90% of the time really fucking funny. There were a few outliers which I didn't like, but besides that, they're great. Revelations worked because fans praised their randomness, their goofy charm and personality, and the way they implemented it for different characters. Again, Saejima carries a fucking log with him. Tanimura writes stuff down, Yokoyama just has an epiphany, and so on. In fact, I'd say they were iconic for the entirety of RGG, and you know what the funny thing is? They kinda remind me of those bad mobile game ads. Now, they're not really Thanos snapped out of existence. I've realized that while their usual implementation is gone with Infinite Wealth, however, the way you unlock jobs is by unlocking them. Wow, insane. And then you got a revelation, basically. A goofy scene of the party member unlocking the job via inspiration.
This next one. Yeah, keep talking. Come on, let me at it. Oh, you too fast.
To knock it off.
Whoa, dude! What a smash!
Did you see that swing? She was like...
So, in that case, they're still there. In fact, I think they'll also be a 9. But there's no QTs in it, so yeah, I guess. Judgment and Lost Judgment also has semi-interesting takes on them by tying them together with the move books and scanning QR codes and stuff. But that is the biggest bone I can throw. There's some criticism, sure, on the QTE part of the Revelations, but I genuinely thought they made up for it and were funny, so yeah, skill issue. So yeah, I mean, people really reference them in memes even years later, stuff like "That's Rad" and Akiyama screenshotting GIF. Goofy stuff, you know. Do I want them to return how they were for the inevitable Kiwami 3? Yes I do. They made the PS3 engine games more memorable in my opinion. Anyhow, in conclusion, I fucking love Revelations, and while they weren't how they used to be, they're still in the series, at least in mainline through Alo-Happy. The other current replacements aren't really the same thing and don't have that charm, that oomph. So So, yeah, rant over. Another nothing burger, but I genuinely miss how they were in the 3 to 5 games. Here's hoping they can bring them back. See ya and bye-bye.